what's precisely is unconstitutional about that act? Well, the first thing I'll say, to be fair to Ms. Smith, her press release says it's clearly constitutional. So we disagree on this. I think that it's not a close call. Here's why. The separation of powers is a foundational feature of our constitutional order. Don't take my word for it. That's what the Supreme Court of Canada says. It's an essential feature, that's a quote, of our Constitution. What is the concept of this separation of powers? Well, it's that each role, legislative, executive, judicial, has a separate and distinct function in making our Constitution work. Legislatures make laws, the executive implements those laws, and it's the judiciary, courts, independent, have to listen to evidence and hear from both sides, who make the determination about whether those laws comply with the Constitution or not. What else did the Supreme Court of Canada say? Well, that in each of those core responsibilities, the other level of government cannot interfere with those functionings. That means courts can't become legislatures. Legislatures can't take on executive powers, but it also means legislatures can't be courts. They can't issue constitutional declarations, and they most certainly cannot purport to issue a constitutional remedy. What's a constitutional remedy? Well, it says that the law won't apply here, that's not a real law. That's a job we give exclusively to courts, and it's a task they undertake with all degree of seriousness. Why? Because it's a big deal to say that a law passed by a democratically elected body is not going to have the force of law. We say in our political constitutional system, when Parliament passes a law, that's a law until a court tells us otherwise. That's also true of the legislature. We comply with their laws. Let's imagine a world in which that's not the case, in which a legislature could say that federal law of Canada is unconstitutional. Well, Parliament has said that's a law. The Alberta legislature has said, no, that's not a law. And what is a citizen supposed to do with that information? What is a City of Edmonton police officer who's now been sworn to uphold the Criminal Code of Canada? And there's a provision of that criminal code that police officer doesn't know whether I should enforce it or not enforce it, or is it the law or is it not the law? What do I do? What do I do next? It's a recipe for confusion and a deep, I think, subversion of what we call the rule of law.